every single day throughout the country in every police force.
What, unlawful arrest?
Well, I think...
Absolutely, the circumstances...
Well, can I just...
Scotland, it doesn't.
Okay, one at a time, and I think if you want to respond to that, and then I'm going to take Mark Olongi. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, our Tory MP, Crybaby Daley, going on another epic rant on the right to protest. Anyway, hello there, I do hope you're all well. But yes, we all remember the video the other day of the 3 Tory snowflakes losing their marbles after human rights lawyer Adam Wagner called Tim Loughton's questioning as sinister between 30 Lee's chuntering, then Crybaby Daley then started clutching his pearls, and then the chair had to intervene. Well, after all that had happened, this is what actually did go down, and let's just say our Crybaby Daley's mood didn't subside.
Mr. Smith, one of the concerns I have in respect to this hearing is that and this has been raised before, is we appear to be having a discussion regarding a set of circumstances where some of the people involved in this are not here. So you've given your take, you've accused people of being dishonest and various other things. There is no way of me testing that evidence here, because the police officers who were present, who arrested you, have not been invited before this committee, are not able to give their side of the story.
Now, you did hear that, didn't you? These police officers were not invited to this committee to give their side of the story. Bear that in mind.
So, I don't really know what I can ask in respect to that, because as far as I can see, that from the information that we have, you came down here to protest, and the police officers appear to have taken a view in respect of, based upon intelligence and on respect of some of the items that were either close to you or in your possession and in the possession of the other people who were arrested, that they had legal grounds to arrest you. I mean, that's basically all we can establish, isn't it? You dispute that. They say they did have legal grounds, and that's that, isn't it? That's basically the height of what we can talk about here today. If we are going to get into the point where select committees of this House are turning themselves actually into courts, we're into a very difficult set of circumstances there.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're more than welcome to invite the 50 members of the Strategic Tactical Support Group here to... Absolutely. Well, that's entirely up to the chair of the committee, but...
I apologise for interrupting you. Can I just make it clear that when we contacted the Metropolitan Police, we did ask, I think, James, you'd requested this, that we had officers who were on the front line that day who could come and give evidence, or not give evidence, explain what happened. And the Metropolitan Police took the decision that they would send Assistant Commissioner Twist. That was their decision. Then, so that's why we're in the position we are today, just so everyone's clear.
So, yeah. Who was the one involved in getting these officers in the meeting? James Daly. Yes, our crybaby James Daly. So it's not really Graham Smith's problem, is it? That they only sent Assistant Commissioner Twist, is it? What a bell tap.
And I think it's perfectly reasonable as someone who was detained for 16 hours without any intent or motive even to commit any crime, to say quite clearly, and to express also the view of my solicitor, who said this quite clearly to the officers in the station and the pace officer, that this was an unlawful arrest and detention. I mean, the motive is also an important point, which I did point out to them, and which we pointed out to the officers we had liaison meetings with, because I was at pains to stress, that we had no intention whatsoever of doing anything such as, and these specific things were talked about, locking on, throwing anything into the route, getting into the route, or anything else which would cause them any concern. And we were very clear that we did not want to cause the police any concern, which is one of the reasons why we were liaising with them. And I said that, aside from anything else, we do not have any motivation whatsoever to do that, because it would be an incredibly stupid thing for a anti-monarchist campaign to do, because I fully accept that we don't have a majority on side, and I fully accept that our job is to present both our case and ourselves as reasonable people with a reasonable message, and you will not necessarily do that disrupting the coronation. So, you know,
I think that the set of circumstances that were in play at the time, and I think that the police were put in a position where...
Whatever, you're talking nonsense. Exactly. Absolutely brilliant point about being in the minority. Does that clearly didn't butter any parsnips for our pearl-clutching crybaby James Daly, did it?
They were protecting and looking to protect the safety of hundreds of thousands of people, together with horses and other people involved in the coronation. And it is curious to me, Mr. Smith, that you never once mention your concern or the issue of the public protection of hundreds of thousands of people as an important factor in what's going through your intention when you're going there.
Now, I have to say, when I watched this committee meeting, I had to struggle to work out who asked the most ridiculous question ever. Was it our big baby James Daly with this question, or whether it was from 30p Lee, when he said, if you believe so much in democracy, why do you stand for Parliament? Or sinister megaphone question, Tim Loughton. Or even Tory MP Simon Fell's question, and I shit you not. When you were liaising with the police, did you notify them that with all your equipment, your 600 placards and whatnot, but he didn't say that, but you get the picture, did you notify the police you would be arriving in London in a van? I've got to say, if that had been me, I'd have just said sarcastically, well, how else am I going to bring me 600 placards to London and all my equipment? Black cab, the A65 bus, that's if there is one, push bike, motorbike, or just in my backpack? I shit you not. That was a question that was asked.
We had discussions about that with the police. We said that we did our own risk assessments. We took advice. We took decisions in relation to what we were doing and how we were doing it. We had our own volunteer welfare officer recruited. We had other people specifically to manage and hold the large flags. We were very clear about our impact on the people around us. We have had protests in other cities where we have engaged with the people around us in good humour, and we have made it very clear that we're not protesting against them, but we are protesting against the monarchy. So, it is...
Just going on from that, tell me what it is, specifically, in the Public Order Act that you disagree with, that you dispute, that you think is not needed in response to the concerns of the constituents I represent and all of my colleagues.
I think if there is a law that allows people to be rounded up without evidence and detained for 16...
Wrong.
It's not wrong, excuse me.
Well, 100% incorrect what you've just said.
100%. Well, you might want to talk to the young woman from Australia who was rounded up without evidence.
Absolutely. Do you remember that story? I think she was doing a Triz Coffee tribute act with the clothes she was wearing, by the looks of it, from what I heard. And the first question they asked her when they arrested her was, "What were you doing on the Mall on the day of the coronation?" Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, now you watch our crybaby Daley go off on one now. Absolutely hilarious.
And ask her about that, because she spent
Do you
hours
know that? Listen, if there's a set of circumstances where I was a criminal lawyer, Mr. Smith, for 17 years. I've dealt with, like Mr. Wagner, with many cases of unlawful arrest. You are creating the impression that this is some unique situation. This is a situation that it happens every single day throughout the country in every police force.
What, unlawful arrest?
Well, I think...
Absolutely. The circumstances...
Well,
can I just...
Scotland, it doesn't.
Okay, one at a time, and I think if you want to respond to that, and then I'm going to take Mark Olongi. Yeah.
Oh my God, what a pathetic little baby. And all I'll say is, it doesn't end there, I'm telling you. Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, I can just reiterate, there was not a single piece of evidence of any intent or capacity to commit any crime when they detained us for searching. And they then released a statement saying we'd been arrested under conspiracy to cause a public nuisance, which was not correct. They then later re-arrested me for that in order to make my arrest record match the press statement. It had all the hallmarks of being predetermined. And as I said, it was said earlier by, I think, Mr. Twist, is it? That, they tried to be as helpful as possible. That was absolutely the opposite of what they did now. Now, I have, as I said, done many other protests where they have been very helpful, where we have discussed things, what they could have done on that day, and this is an important point as a contrast. One officer could have come up and asked us who we were. They could have then spoken to the liaison officer. They could have, if they said, look, do you mind if we look in the van? We said, absolutely, of course, go for it. If they raised concerns about the straps, we would have explained, as we did, what they were for. we would have told them that they would have been put back in the van and the van was going back to North London, and we could have carried on our way. But instead they detained us, they confiscated the placards and then continued to disrupt and diminish the protest all the way through the day.
Right, okay, James,
I don't accept that for a second, and that's completely contradicted by the evidence of the police. And we are turning this hearing simply into giving you a platform to say things which there is no possibility whereby, and the evidential basis that we can challenge in this room, and therefore I don't know why.
Okay, well, we're not a court of law. We've just invited people to give their account of what happened.
Evidence.
We're not a court of law, James. Right.
Now, I found both their last statements quite interesting. Graham Smith's about how the police acted when they'd arrested them, and I found also our crybaby James Daly's statement incredibly chilling as well, because unchallenged evidence, let's be honest here, when it comes to these Tory pearl clutches, they'd already made up their minds before this meeting had even started. And as far as I could see, with these people, these pearl clutchers, as far as they were concerned, people like Graham Smith should not have the right to protest. People like nurses or those who were on strike should not be allowed to strike whatsoever. They should protest in their living room quietly so not to disturb the neighbours. They should get back to work and earn their gruel and live in perpetual poverty and carry on producing the necessaries of life for a pittance and do as you are told. That's how I think they think. But anyway, more importantly, what do you guys think? Right, 3 things. Firstly, most importantly, have a fantastic weekend, my friends, and hopefully the sun shines on you all like it is in sunny Bradford here. Secondly, hope to see you on Max's live stream tonight. I always turn up, I always enjoy it. So say hi and I will return the favour. And thirdly, thank you. 20,000 subs. I'm just lost for words. I'm speechless, humbled, and I don't really know what to say, but I suppose anyway, just say big, massive thank you, and love you all, and have a lovely weekend, my friends, and take care.